Welcome to the deep dive. This is where we take your source materials, sometimes small, sometimes dense, maybe even fragmented, and really pull out the core insights. And today, we've got something pretty different, actually. We're diving into a creative piece, really concise, almost like a poem.
Yeah, the source is just a little snippet from a YouTube video transcript. It's for a track called Sawyer Hill, Eye for an Eye for Ghost of Yōtei.
Yeah.
So just a few lines, really. But we're going to treat it like, I don't know, an archaeological find.
Exactly. It's about seeing how much you can extract from minimal language, how mood is built, and it's also, great practice for synthesizing context and sensory details, which honestly you need whether you're looking at like poetry or a policy brief.
Right, it's about the analysis, not necessarily reviewing the music itself. We're looking at the textual intent, the themes. And what's really striking here is how much information, sort of raw, visceral stuff, gets packed in right from the title. You see these patterns, fragmentation, repetition, and all sorts of research materials, right? Survey data, historical trends. It's about understanding the intent behind those choices.
Okay, yeah. So let's unpack it. We've basically got, 3 layers here. There's the title Eye for an Eye, Ghost of Yōtei. That sets up themes, place, then these sort of fragmented, punchy actions. And finally, this really intense sensory thing focusing on the word heat. So starting with that foundation, the theme, eye for an eye. I mean, wow, that phrase carries some serious weight.
Oh, absolutely. It's ancient, isn't it?
Yeah.
Really uncompromising. It immediately puts you in the realm of, like, justice, consequences. Yeah. But you can't just stop there. Is it really justice? Or is it signaling something else, like cyclical violence?
That's a good question. Is it cold, calculated retribution?
Or is it just feeding this endless, maybe hot cycle of pain? The answer totally shifts the mood, and that intense theme gets tied to this very specific place, Ghost of Yōtei.
Mount Yōtei. That's not just any mountain, is it? It's that big, iconic one in Hokkaido. The Mount Fuji of Hokkaido, they call it.
Yeah, the geography matters. It suggests somewhere high, probably cold, definitely isolated, maybe spiritual. And sticking ghost on the front, that elevates it. It's not just a personal fight anymore. It feels haunted, maybe historical.
Like the consequences linger there. A ghost on this huge, cold volcano.
It creates this feeling of isolation, definitely. Like this act of vengeance is happening in this vast, empty, grand arena.
So for you, the listener, you immediately get the stakes. This isn't casual, it feels big.
Precisely. And the cleverness is in the tension the title itself sets up. You've got the cold, vast Ghost of Yōtei clashing with the kind of intense personal heat implied by eye for an eye. That tension really drives everything else we see in the text.
Okay, so moving from the title into the actual transcript snippets, it jumps right into action. The knight, then get the blade. It's immediate, focused, like we're shifting from that wide, ghostly landscape right down to someone's hand holding something lethal.
Yeah, and notice the lack of connecting words, the abruptness. That's the fragmentation doing its work. It's like looking at incomplete data. You don't get the backstory, just the action items. The knight, get the blade. It feels urgent, decisive.
All about the means to deliver that consequence. The blade, cold, surgical. But then right after that cold preparation, the script gives us, get her walk through the fire.
Whoa. Okay, that completely shifts the dynamic, doesn't it? From cold steel to just pure destructive fire.
And this is where interpretation really kicks in. We have to ask, okay, is this literal? Is someone physically walking through flames?
Which would imply this like almost suicidal commitment.
Or is it metaphorical? A trial, maybe purification, or just the immense internal cost of carrying out this vengeance?
I lean towards the metaphorical fire, I think, in this context. Because walking through fire, that suggests transformation, right? A destructive one. So if the path of vengeance is the fire, then eye for an eye isn't clean. It's self-immolation. It costs the person everything. And that tension, the cold blade versus the hot fire, it's vital. It's like finding contradictory data points in research, A document showing careful planning, then a diary entry that's all raw passion. You have to figure out how they fit.
How do they synthesize? Maybe the plan leads to the reckless act.
Exactly. The fire and the blade might just be two sides of the same destructive coin. And that phrase, get her walk through the fire, it's ambiguous too. Are they walking towards it or are they already in it?
Right. That ambiguity makes it much more psychological, less like a simple action scene.
Yeah. And that psychological intensity ramps up even more when we get to the most repeated element. The word heat. This is where it gets really fascinating, I think, because it moves from actions to just pure sensory state. Heat, 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 heat. Oh, wait, heat, 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 heat. I mean, the sheer volume of that repetition, it tells you heat isn't just background detail. It is the main thing. It's overload. It absolutely shifts. It's not just temperature anymore. It becomes this psychological thing, a sonic motif almost. Structurally, the word heat acts like a sound element, doesn't it? Like a drone or a really fast percussive beat.
The sound of danger? Or maybe the character's own internal state, like their heart pounding?
Could be both.
Mm.
Or the actual sound of that fire we just talked about. And the line, oh, I can hear heat. Heat that nails it. It explicitly makes this sensation auditory.
So the heat isn't just felt, it's heard, it's ringing in their ears.
Right. Which forces you, the listener, to experience it less as an external environment and more as, like, internal mania. The danger isn't quiet, it's deafening.
It's almost claustrophobic, like the sound design traps you with this overwhelming heat.
Precisely. And think about that sensory overload combined with the isolation of the Ghost of Yōtei. That vast, cold emptiness suddenly shrinks down to this intensely focused point of pure burning friction.
Wow, yeah, the contrast.
And the repetition itself is key. It shows how important patterns are in analysis. When something keeps repeating in your source, a keyword, a data point, a symbol, the incure, it's not just noise, it's probably the core signal.
That's a brilliant point for our listeners. You know, if your source keeps hitting this seemingly dry term, like, I don't know, regulatory capture, over and over, it's telling you that that concept is the dominant reality, just like heat is the reality here. The repetition is carrying the theme. And then this whole relentless auditory heat experience gets anchored by one last little fragment. Up here. Up here. Just like that. It's a location marker. It ties the whole intense heated moment to a specific spot, probably elevated.
Yeah, possibly referencing the slopes or the summit of Mount Yōtei that anchors the danger.
And makes it feel exposed, vulnerable, high up.
It adds that final touch of high-stakes exposure. They're not hiding somewhere safe. They're up here, visible, trapped between the mountain's cold isolation and the burning sound of the heat. To the perfect little snapshot of crisis.
Okay, so let's try and synthesize all this. We started with, what, maybe 15 words and a title? And from that, we've sketched out this whole narrative world for you. We've got this foundation of ancient personal payback, eye for an eye, happening in this vast, haunting, cold setting, Ghost of Yōtei.
Then the actions are fragmented, sudden, violent blade, pushing the character through something incredibly risky, fire.
And the whole psychological reality of it is defined by this relentless, overwhelming auditory pressure, hear, heat. All happening somewhere high and exposed up here.
So the big takeaway here, I think, is the power of fragmentation itself. This piece doesn't give you neat narrative blocks. It forces you to connect the dots. You have to synthesize these raw inputs.
Yeah.
Vengeance, cold, blade, fire, sound. So when you encounter incomplete data or fragmented messages or just short bursts of info in your own work, remember this, the power isn't always in what's fully explained. It's often in how you connect the minimal language, the mood it creates, and those raw, visceral sensory details. Every word here is working incredibly hard.
Yeah, establishing not just a plot point, but a whole state of mind. That's the essence of this kind of deep dive. And it leaves us with a final thought for you, the listener, to chew on. If one repeating word like heat can carry all that weight, danger, sound, psychological state, what seemingly small detail or maybe aggressively repeated element in your own research could be a statistic that keeps popping up, a footnote everyone references, what carries the most intense, unsaid meaning for the bigger picture you're building, what deserves your intense focus right now. Keep connecting those fragments, keep synthesizing that data. We'll catch you on the next deep dive.